Hello everyone, welcome back to Universal. Today we have an interesting update about growing of plants in the lunar soil. So let's begin without wasting time. In a tiny, lab-grown garden, the first seeds ever sown in lunar dirt have sprouted. This small crop, planted in samples returned by Apollo missions, offers hope that astronauts could someday grow their own food on the moon. But plants potted in lunar dirt grew more slowly and were scrawnier than others grown in volcanic material from Earth, researchers report May 12 in Communications Biology. That finding suggests that farming on the moon would take a lot more than a green thumb. NASA's upcoming plans is to send astronauts back to the moon. As part of its Artemis program, have offered a new incentive to examine that precious dirt and explore how lunar resources could support long-term missions. A trio of researchers at the University of Florida in Gainesville ran experiments with thalcress. This well-studied plant is in the same family as mustards and can grow in just a tiny clod of material. That was key because the researchers had only a little bit of the moon to go around. The team planted seeds in tiny pots that each held about a gram of dirt. 4 pots were filled with samples returned by Apollo 11, another 4 with Apollo 12 samples, and a final 4 with dirt from Apollo 17. Another 16 pots were filled with earthy volcanic material used in past experiments to mimic moon dirt. All were grown under LED lights in the lab and watered with a broth of nutrients. Nothing really compared to when we first saw the seedlings as they were sprouting in the lunar regolith, says Annalisa Paul, a plant molecular biologist. That was a moving experience, to be able to say that we're watching the very first terrestrial organisms to grow in extraterrestrial materials ever. And it was amazing, just amazing. Plants grew in all the pots of lunar dirt, but none grew as well as those cultivated in earthy material. The healthiest ones were just smaller, Paul said. The sickliest moon-grown plants were tiny and had purplish pigmentation, a red flag for plant stress. Plants grown in Apollo 11 samples, which had been exposed on the lunar surface the longest, were the most stunted. Apollo 11 seedlings had the most severely stressed genetic profile, offering more evidence that regolith exposed to the lunar surface longer and therefore littered with more impact glass and metallic iron is more toxic to plants. Future space explorers could choose the site for their lunar habitat accordingly. Perhaps lunar dirt could also be modified somehow to make it more comfortable for plants. Or plants could be genetically engineered to feel more at home in alien soil. We can also choose plants that do better, Paul says. Maybe spinach plants, which are very salt-tolerant, would have no trouble growing in lunar regolith. We hope you enjoyed watching the video. Thank you to all the viewers.